I would like to talk to you guys about the elections in Turkey right now, April 2017 elections, which is going to be changing the political stage of Turkey, which was always run since Atatürk set up the political stage, which was Congress and then Prime Minister and a President. Prime Minister runs the country with the party that wins it, and President approves and disapproves for some of the major decisions, but pretty much the Prime Minister runs it. And the President of Turkey right now, the radical person, honestly. I don't approve most of the things he says and does. He wants to pretty much be the president, but the same presidency system, kind of like it is United States, but he will be giving himself a lot more power over the Congress, and that way he can actually continue to be ruling Turkey, and to a point that when you want the democracy and continue the democracy, and which, believe it or not, a lot of you guys don't know, Turkey has been a high standard in democracy for the last century. But since we have these changes in the country in the last 20 years, there has been some positive things, I'm not going to lie, and I think that's one of the biggest issues with the other political side, which the democratic side of Turkey, which a party called CHP, it's a democratic party. I think their approach is always attack. He doesn't do anything right, and he's horrible, and he is this and he is that. And when you only attack, and it just doesn't make you look stronger, it makes you actually look weak. People who complain and whine and constantly attack to people, they don't look strong, they look weak. And I think that gives more power to the opposition. And I think that's what's happening in Turkey, to be honest. And the other parties, they do not combine to go against him because they don't agree with each other. So he ends up winning it. So he has done some things that actually did improve Turkey, and he has done many things that I don't approve, and it's done horrible for Turkey. One of the things is Turkey is a country that separates religion from the politics and schools, and he's trying to bring religion into the picture, and which I don't think is a good idea. I think Turkey has been a welcoming place for foreigners, people from other religions, and since he's been in charge, it's still a welcome place. It's just not as comfortable conversations as they used to could have, and I think if he becomes the president and this election goes and like majority of Turkey says yes to this, he pretty much continues to rule the way he's been ruling, and I fear that it's going to be a problem for Turkish people and for the rest of the world. But like I said, the biggest problem that the opposition did is not seeing some of the positives he's done. I mean, I haven't been to my country, Turkey, and my country here, obviously, I'm dual citizen, and I'm a U.S. citizen too now. But where I was born and raised, of course, means a lot to me as well. And when I went back after 16 years, there's been a lot of changes that is positive as well when it comes to the structural of the country. But on the other note, when it was hard to see some of the maybe a little bit more extreme, hardcore religious Muslims, they weren't really around as much when I left the country, and now there's more of them, and they were in the lower class before, and they seem to be in a higher economic level now. And it seems like if you don't approve the party, your business goes downwards. So he also makes sure that people support him and what he does, and so that doesn't make it democracy okay, right? That's not democracy. Like, you need to be okay with your opposition. You need to be okay with people's opinions, and anyone says anything, about the president or him, like you know, as party, they go to jail and they get sued, they get arrested, they get beat up, and so that's not okay. Like I said, I'm being open about it. There is some positive things, and honestly, the opposition is not giving any better options right now, and you know, so it's their fault. It's our fault. And if I'm talking about the Democratic Party in Turkey, it's our fault. We need to bring a good leader. We need to bring somebody who's going to be able to fix things. Because saying that you're going to fix it is just not enough. And complaining that they're doing everything horrible is just not enough. So I think it's very important for my people to understand, open your mind. If you want to get the votes of those who you start to hate, you need to open your mind to those people and hear their opinions on why they're thinking. Not everything they're saying is wrong. Not everything they're saying is horrible. There are things that you might agree with them if you just open your ears. And it's been really closed mind, you know, honestly. I am a big Atatürk supporter. I have his signature on my arm as a tattoo. And I love Atatürk. And his is what he left behind us. And I believe everything he says. And one of the things that he did do, he did work with this religious crowd, and he did, you know, extreme maybe, but he did work with them to a point, and he listened to them. And I think Atatürk was loved by many, not just the democratic part of Turkey, and he was loved by many. I mean, if you see his funeral video, you will understand what type of people was crying that day. Everyone was crying. And I think if you want to change and make a difference, you need to bring somebody who's going to have an open mind enough to listen to both parties, both perspectives, and open your mind and really start addressing the issues and fix them. You know, and when you are going to just complain about things, you need to remember one thing. You made this happen more than his voters. So if you want change, you need to change. Have a good day.